Welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast, everyone. So glad you are listening today. If this is your first time listening to the Collide Kids Podcast, it's a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. Today, this show is all about dessert, cake to be exact. What is your favorite dessert? Do you like warm chocolate chip cookies? Or maybe you like an ice cream sundae with lots of toppings. Or maybe you love birthday cake with icing all over it. For me, I'll just take anything chocolate. And I think my kids would say anything with sprinkles. Wait, are you getting hungry right now or is that just me? Before we begin the interview, I thought we'd start out with some jokes. Do you want to hear some jokes? All right, here's some good ones. They're all about cake. Are you ready? Here's the first one. Why do we put candles on top of a birthday cake? Well, because it's too hard to put them on the bottom. All right. I don't know if that was very funny. Let's try another one. Okay. What did the cake say to the fork? You want a piece of me? Get it? Like the cake is a piece. Okay. That one wasn't good either. Okay, let's try another one. Why was the cake as hard as a rock? Because it was a marble cake. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay. What do they serve at birthday parties in heaven? Angel food cake. Of course. You knew the answer to that. All right, here's another one. What is an elf's favorite kind of cake? Shortcake. That sounded like a dad joke, didn't it? Yeah, it did. All right, let's try another one. Why did the cake go to the doctor? Because it was feeling crummy. Get it? Crummy? Sometimes I feel crummy. Anyway, okay, let's try. Okay, one more. What is the most stressful thing about being a dragon? Trying to blow out the candles on your birthday cake. Yeah, that would be hard. Oh, I love jokes. So fun. Okay, well, my guest today is Mack McLeod. Mack is 13 years old, and he lives in North Georgia. He has always baked in the kitchen with his mom and his great-grandmother, and I just recently heard of his cakes through social media. I was on Instagram, and I heard about these cakes and saw the picture, and when I realized that a 13-year-old was making some of the most beautiful cakes I've ever seen, I knew I had to get him on the show. So I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend, Mack McLeod. All right. Well, Mack, welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Well, let's just start with who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And you're 13 years old, right?
Yes, that's correct.
That's amazing. Okay. So you're the youngest person I've ever had on the show. I've only just started, but still, you're the youngest person as a
cool.
special guest. So yeah, that's cool. So tell us about yourself, Mack.
I'm 13 years old. I'm in 7th grade. And I have 2 little brothers, Ben and Sam. And I have a big passion for baking. I really enjoy baking. And I've started baking like towards the beginning of quarantine. And I have an Instagram account called Mack.bakes. And I just felt like it's been a really big part of my life is baking, I guess. Like, I just really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So how did you realize that you wanted to do that you wanted to bake and decorate cakes?
So my mom has like been baking for a long time. Like, used to do our birthday cakes as little kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've always like admired that, I guess. But one night that was like wanting more freedom, I guess, in the kitchen. And I was like, Mom, can I like, I looked up, I was on Pinterest and I saw this recipe for like just basic chocolate chip cookies. She's like, you know what, sure, have at it. And I did it and like they were really good.
Hmm.
So then my mom was like, why don't we start selling these like just for fun? So then I started selling them and then it got bigger and then I realized like I really enjoy this stuff. So we did that and then our really close friends, it was their anniversary
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted an anniversary cake. So I did that and people in our community just started like they're like, oh, this is really cool. I might want to just like order a cake, I guess. So then I think it just grew on from that. Like it just started growing and growing. And as
Yeah.
that process, I became like better at it and more practiced, you know? So I feel
Yeah.
like that's how it all started.
That's cool. So it's just like any instrument or anything else you're gonna do. Like you have to just keep doing it over and over again to get better and better.
Hmm.
And I've seen your Instagram account, and your cakes are gorgeous. Like I
Thank
couldn't
you.
believe when I saw them. I was like, oh, these are really cool. And then when I saw that you were 13, I think that's just really impressive that you're a
Thank
young
you.
person that's so dedicated to what you do. So you talked a little bit about Pinterest. Is that where you get your design ideas for some of these cakes?
I get like my base recipes for like icing and cakes from Pinterest, but a lot of my ideas, like idea wise, are from people that I follow on Instagram because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the level of baking on Instagram is a lot like more modern than it is on Pinterest. Like a lot of
Okay.
Pinterest stuff is just basic recipes, and Instagram has a lot of interesting and creative stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, do you feel like there's one type of process or one type of like design that you prefer to do the most?
Um, I honestly am really happy with whatever, but I enjoy it the most when the customer says, "You know what? Do whatever, Mac," because like I feel like I can have the most creativity with it, you
Yeah,
know?
you get the freedom to kind of do what you want and have an
Yeah.
imagination with it. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. So tell us about your process. Like, how long does it take you to make a cake and design it like that?
So the process is quite a long process, but like the most like it takes the longest to actually bake the cake and make the icing because everything's from scratch and like it's a lot faster using a box cake, but they don't taste as good. So I like to
Mm-hmm.
just like make everything from scratch. And then I usually do it, I make everything a day before, like make all of the cake and all of the frosting. And then I take the cakes out of the and bake them and take them out of the pans and then wrap them in saran wrap and
Mm-hmm.
then stick them in a freezer bag and freeze them overnight so they become hard and firm.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I frost them, it's not like sketchy that it'll fall over or something. Like I always get scared if they fall over because like that's someone's cake and I don't want to mess it up for them, you
Right.
know?
And then you have to start all over, right?
Yeah. And then I just like decorate it after that, which is really fun.
That's cool. What are your favorite kinds of, um, like for frosting or for cakes? Like, what are your favorite flavors?
We'll be right back after this. You know, raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
So like for me personally, my favorite flavors, I'm really basic. I just like vanilla cake and vanilla icing.
Okay.
But like I really enjoy when people ask for like fruit filling because I love making like the different purees and getting like having experiments with them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. My wedding cake had a fruit filling in it and it was awesome. But it was a basic like vanilla with vanilla icing, but it had like this raspberry in it. So good. I can still remember it like it was that good. So what do you have to do to learn how to do like the different frosting techniques? Like do you watch a YouTube video and that's how you figure out how to do it?
So a lot of the time on Instagram, I think it's called like an IGVT video on Instagram. They're
Mm-hmm.
like 2 minute long videos of like a basic thing. And a lot of them are like they do a lot of basic stuff, but at the same time they can look really cool, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I watch those 3 times and try it the first time, it won't turn out exactly like them. But like I feel like the third time I can get it down really well. And then it just locks in my head, I guess. Like I feel like I can do that. Once I do it once, I feel like I can do it again, if
That's
that makes
awesome.
sense.
Yeah, that does. Yeah. You just have to keep like trying it out and figuring out what you can
Yeah.
do. So what do you think is the most important step? Like when you're making a cake, like what's the most important thing you really have to focus on while you do it?
Um, the most important thing I feel like is now because of COVID, always like being careful with washing your hands and keeping like I always wear a hat, so like and like just to keep my hair keep the hair like stuff out of the cake and stuff, and always I'm just trying to stay safe with COVID. I feel like that's a really big role right now, just
Yeah.
being safe with that. But another thing is like if I forget a step, like that's always scary because then I have to redo it,
Do you feel like you have a lot of these recipes memorized? Like do you have to look at a recipe card or you think you could do it off the top of your head?
In the beginning, I had to definitely look at a recipe, but now, because I've been doing it for such a long time, like I don't really need a card as much, but like if I ever have to do a new recipe, like if someone asks for like a different like flavor of cake, I guess,
Mhm.
that's when I have to use a recipe.
That's cool. Yeah. So you talked earlier about COVID and how like, you have to be so careful with that. And you actually started this business, right? This whole cake thing during quarantine. So how did COVID affect your baking like at this time of your life?
I think COVID, there were some positive and some negative parts to where
Mhm.
like it I was definitely scared during COVID that like business would drop down because I was afraid people were not going to be as flexible anymore. Like people didn't want me baking for them. But
Mhm.
I feel like I wasn't thinking as much. I was just thinking of negative. But like I was talking to my mom and she was like, I think the reason, Mac, that people just keep buying your cakes is because during COVID, it was a hard time and like sad time, but like who wasn't happy when you get a cake, you know? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. So I think the cakes definitely like weren't just selling cakes. It also was happy to me when I saw a smile on another person's face when they got them. Like
Wow.
it just felt really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you get to help other people and you get to serve other people like that, that's really cool. Um, Do you feel supported in your baking? Like, do you feel like it's something that you get a lot of support from?
So yes, definitely in the community, like where I live, I feel very supportive but because like everyone that buys them leaves amazing reviews and very nice comments. And even when I give it to them, they're amazed and it just feels really good. But on Instagram too, I've made like a lot of virtual friends, I guess you could say, and
Mm-hmm.
they've just been really supportive too. And there's like I've joined a lot of collabs and there's like a lot like higher class bakers and they've just been like really nice and supportive to me.
That's awesome. So they're kind of like mentoring you a little bit or helping you.
Yeah,
That's really neat. Yeah, and it's so
yeah,
important. I think in any skill set that you have someone that can mentor you and someone that's further along than you that can kind of help you navigate. So that's so important. That's so good that you have that. Um,
thank you.
okay, so what are your favorite collabs? Like who are the people that you admire the most in the cake business?
So my favorite collab that I've ever done was probably I did a Day of the Dead one, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I've made like new friends with her name is Walton Cakes.
Mm-hmm.
She's a really talented baker, and she's been like every time I post a cake, she always comments like how amazing it looks, and it just feels really good that a a mentor is supporting me because there's not many other like bakers that live near me that I've ever met,
Mm-hmm.
but it's nice that she keeps like supporting me and stuff, and it feels really good.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's the cool thing about social media and the internet is we can connect not just with people near us, but also like all over the world. We can have those kind of connections. And then having a mentor like that, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any like cake decorating TV shows or YouTube channels that you really love to watch?
I really enjoy Let's Cake It is what she calls, and she turns like cake from like just basic cake and turns them into crazy stuff you wouldn't even realize they're cake. Like
Is that
she did,
Yolanda Gamp? Is that who that is?
yes,
Yes, I
that,
love her stuff. That's awesome.
yes. I like her stuff too. She did like one where she turned it into it looked like a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. It was so cool.
Wow. Yeah. I saw one where she made the cake look like a juice box and then she actually put juice, like a pitcher of juice in the cake. So when you like the straw is coming out of it, it actually had juice. The only thing that like makes me crazy though is after the whole video, she makes this huge cake and then she cuts it. I'm like,
I
oh,
know. I'm like, aren't you gonna sell that? Like,
I give it to someone. Yeah.
I know. I was like, just come donate it to me. They look so
Right.
good.
Or send me a slice. Yeah, come on.
Yes.
Yes. And I love she always talks about crumb coat and chill. Like, she always,
Yes,
do you do that process or is that just something she does?
yes. The crumb coat keeps like it's like in the name, it keeps the crumbs out of the final coat. So like you put on a thin layer and then you chill it for like an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it just like that icing like keeps all the crumbs in. So when you put on the next layer, you don't see any crumbs
Okay.
in the other coat.
Yeah, that's smart. That's cool. I just know she always says it. So I'm like, oh, that's a good
Yes.
process, I'm sure. I don't know what that means, but now I knew. That's helpful. Thanks for telling me that.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
well, so earlier we talked about like just some favorite Bible verses that we have. Like what is your favorite Bible verse?
Mine is probably John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, who ever believes in him will not perish and will have everlasting life. Because that's my favorite verse, and that's probably my favorite verse because like it's just been in our family forever. Like everyone in our family knows that verse. Even my little brothers, like we've been just taught it.
Mm-hmm.
But like after like not just reciting the verse every day or every week, um, like understanding what it means and like it just has like made a bigger impact on my life, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably my favorite verse.
Yeah. I think when we recognize how much God loves us, that's such a big impact, but also to know that God loves the entire world. Like he loves
Yeah.
everyone. And that's important for us to carry with us and to share that love. And you get to share that love. When we love other people through cakes or through serving other people, that's another way that we can share that love with others. So that's really awesome. I like that verse too. I think we all like as young kids, if you grew up in the church or you were part of some kind of faith-based anything, you learn that verse. So it's so important to
Yes.
know that verse as you go through life. Okay, so let me ask you this: what is, besides what you have made, what's the best cake you've ever had that you didn't make? What's the
Oh,
best cake you've ever had?
I think it was like my seventh birthday. I'll always remember this cake. Our mom's friend, she doesn't, I don't think she lives here anymore, but she did do like cakes that were like on the more realistic side, like they looked like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like she could make a cake look like a monkey or like a surfboard or something. Like she would do like cool stuff like
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
And my mom ordered a cake from her, and she made I had like a beach themed pool party at our neighborhood pool when I was little, and she made me a beach ball cake. So it was like a round, it was like a life-size beach ball, but it was a cake and it was all round and it tasted so good.
That's amazing. Have you ever made one since then?
I've never made a beach ball cake, but I feel like that would be fun though.
That would be. Yeah, maybe next summer you
Yeah.
can pull that out. That's cool. So what are your goals? Like what do you want to keep doing this forever? Like is this something you want to do for your forever job or is this just something fun as a hobby?
I feel like I don't want to go into the baking business as a career when I grow up because I've just like as a younger child, I've always had plans for like a job besides baking, but I would definitely keep this hobby. Like this is I will never stop baking. I'll
Mhm.
always do like my kids' birthday parties and like when I go to college, if I in a dorm, if anyone ever wants like a cake, I can do a cake there. And I just like
Yeah.
I always like planning out like the future. Like that's what I like to do. But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't I
cool.
it would definitely be awesome if I could continue baking as a career, but I feel like I've always wanted to have like be a doctor or like a firefighter or something when I grow up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's okay. And it's okay to change your mind too. I think a
Yeah,
lot of times we
definitely.
feel
I mean,
like we have to have the whole plan all together, but
yeah,
you can always change your mind or figure out something else you love. That's awesome.
definitely.
Um, so tell us about like what you're doing right now. Like,
Where I'm in school right now, but I feel like eventually if the coronavirus gets worse, you could go back to online.
yeah,
But but during online, that's when I was able to do like last year, like towards the end of my sixth grade year, I was online, and that's when it like started to start booming because I had all the free time
yeah,
and stuff like that. So
yeah,
if I do go virtual, there'll be a positive part of it, I guess.
sure. Yeah. How many cakes can you do like per week?
Well, during like quarantine, like I said, sixth grade year, I did 6 cakes a week, which was like kind of stressful, but I didn't have any school, so it was okay. But now I've been doing like 3 or 4 cakes because of school.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you plan to keep it up even if you're in school or not. That's awesome.
Mm.
That's good. And I encourage anyone that's listening to go check out your Instagram because
Thank
the
you.
pictures are pretty incredible and order cakes, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's great. Well, this has been so fun. I've loved getting to know you and hearing more about your process. Um, do you think there'll be a day that you'll be on a cake YouTube channel or a cake TV show maybe?
Well, during quarantine, I did try out for 2 TV shows, but the thing is, it really stinked because the first TV show, they had to like wait a while because of coronavirus.
Uh-huh.
And when they released it, I was 13 by then,
Oh.
and they were only taking it was like 10 to 12. So
Oh,
that really stinks. And I
bummer.
was a lot taller than the other contestants. So they just felt like I wasn't capable of being on a TV show, which kind of stunk. But then the next TV show I was too young for, but
Oh man,
it's
so you're
okay.
like
I
right in
think,
the middle.
yeah, yeah. But next year I'll be able to try out for it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool. Well, we'll definitely be cheering you
Yeah.
on when you get on the show. That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Tell us, I like to close out the show by having my guests tell us about when you were a kid. And you kind of
Hmm.
are, but you're a little bit older. So maybe give us a memory from when you were a lot younger.
Okay. As a kid, I've always enjoyed like arts and crafts, and I've just been like really creative as a kid. Like Hobby Lobby was like 10 times better than a toy store to me. Like I loved all the crafts and stuff,
Nice.
and like I feel like that kind of ties in with baking now because baking is just like a bigger way of being like a big arts and crafts, but still like in a fun way. So I feel like as a kid, I've always been creative, and it feels good to still be continuing on my creativity, this mindset, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's cool that you carry that with you. That's so good.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. So do you have any big plans for Halloween?
For Halloween, I'm going to trick or treat with a couple of like some kids from my school.
Mm-hmm.
in a neighborhood pretty close to mine. It's just a lot bigger. It's like a golf country club thing.
Uh-huh.
So like it's a big neighborhood, so we won't be able to get around the entire neighborhood, but we'll try. That's
You get a
that
lot of
that
candy.
yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Max, so much for being on the show. Thanks for joining me today. And I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
getting to know you and looking forward to seeing more cakes. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have a good day, okay?
Okay, bye.
Wow. Okay. How cool is he? I just so admire that at the age of 11 or 12, he found something that he was excited about, something he was really good at, and he just started a cake business. And even with everything that happened with COVID and the schools getting shut down and going virtual, he took that extra time to bake for other people. And he's still working on it and doing an amazing job. What a great reminder he gave us to surround yourself with people who can mentor you, people who can show you how to be good at what you do and encourage you to do better. You know, you don't have to be in the cake business to have a mentor. You can find those people who are doing what you want to do and ask them questions. Or maybe you could just listen to your coaches. Your coaches can be your mentor. You can also spend time with your grandparents and hear what they have to say, or help your parents in the kitchen. There's lots of ways that we can be encouraged in what we do. And I loved when he said that he loved making people happy and seeing a smile on someone's face when they get to see his cake. I mean, who isn't happy when they have cake? I think I saw a sign in a gift shop once that said, "You can't be sad when you're holding a cupcake." I think that's pretty true. Wow, I really hope he gets to be on one of those baking shows. I know he will do awesome. All right, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is the part of the show where you get to be on the podcast. So I'd love to introduce you to my friend, Will.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm 12 years old. And what did the janitor say when he popped out of the broom closet? Supplies!
Will, thank you so much. That is one of my favorite jokes. Supplies. I don't know. I think that's funny. Well, hey, I'd love to hear your favorite joke. That's my favorite joke that Will just shared. Now you get to share one of your favorite jokes. Or maybe you have a favorite quote that you like from a movie or a book, or maybe you love a Bible verse and you want to share that. I am always needing kids to send in their stuff. It is not too late and it's really easy to do. Just have a grown-up help you go to my podcast website. It's Anchor, anchor.fm/KollideKidsPod. And on that page, there's a place for you to leave me a message. If you need more information, you can find all of this on my social media pages. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. And speaking of Instagram, you need to go there and check out the pictures of the cakes that Mac has made. He's on Instagram at mac.bakes. It's just incredible. You're going to be so impressed. And I'd love for you to share this podcast with a friend. Do you know someone that would love to listen to a podcast, but they don't know of a good one? Well, tell them how good this one was. Tell them how hungry it made you as we reminded you of all the desserts. You can also subscribe to this podcast so that new episodes will automatically load each week into whatever podcast app you are using. And give us a rating and a review, a good rating, please, and a good review on your podcast app. That actually helps other people find out about the show so they can listen too. I hope this conversation today has inspired you to go try something new. Go bake something. That would be delicious. And then let's all have some dessert today, shall we? We've talked about it enough. I think we deserve a piece of cake. In case no one has told you today, let me be the first to remind you, God loves you so much. Thanks for listening.
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between, and all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids podcast.